Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and here we are yet again at MOT7, and it's time for the next part of the Beetle pickup build. And in this video we intend to get the bed mounted onto the back of the car. Stay tuned. So yeah, today the garage is very busy. There's cars everywhere, so we're probably going to have to work underneath the other car we've got up there. But if you remember, in the last episode we managed to get the bed into the actual back of the car. So we assembled the bed and got that just loosely fitted into the back of the car. So we've since watched the videos from Hestemar and Smith's Performance, just to figure out some of the mounting points and what bolts etc. you need to use. So what we intend to do today is to get this bolted down to the actual car and secured. Now, one issue we have got at this moment is that our tailgate is not closing correctly. Let me just show you the detail on that. So what we've got here is the catch that goes into that part there. Now ours is actually it's not going underneath. We're just going to try and put this at a slight angle to see if that helps, but it seems to be way low. This looks like this should be a lot higher really. Now we can't alter the hinge because that's CNC marked, so that should be in the correct place. We can't alter the catch up and down because they're CNC marked, that's in the correct place. The only thing you can do with the catch is that it will go back and forward a little bit. Sorry about the noise. It will go back and forward a little bit, so what we're looking at is to push this bit back at the bottom to hopefully alter the angle of that to allow that piece to go in easier. The other side is not too far out. It's not perfect, but it does actually go in. As you can see there, it will actually go into the hole, but again it's almost touching at the bottom, so we just need to make this go in at that edge there to alter. See that there? So if we loosen that off, push that in, that should alter that catch and give us a little bit more space to get in there. So that's what we're looking at the moment. So I've removed the tailgate now, and we're just looking at sorry, I'm trying to hold this with my both hands right. So here's the hinge as we had it. So we had pulled it into that hole, which had basically lifted up this part of the hinge and was making this tailgate lower at the top because of the way the hinge was. So we're looking at it now and we're marking in there what we think we need to make the holes a lot bigger there, and we'll do that one first, and then we're going to look at the side hole as well, and we'll probably need to alter that one, but we'll just start with the top one first. Fixed it. Look at that, nice and level, both sides, and gapping quite nice down there, gapping nice down there. Now latches, it does go into the latch almost central, and what we had to do is work on this hinge here. So we had to do a bit of work on this actual hinge, just bending it, reshaping it, and just moving the actual holes where the actual hinge bolts into to actually get it so that it fits quite nicely there. So yeah, well pleased. So we've now got the tailgate in position as it should be. So the next bit we've done is to make sure we've got the bed located in the right place. What Smiths say is that these bolts here under this back plate go straight into the bumper retaining bolts, or the captive nut that's there, and therefore they will locate the bed to exactly the position it needs to be. So what we've done, instead of bolting through this side and then trying to mess around with the nut underneath, we've just found some longer bolts, gone straight through the crash bar, straight through the captive nut, sticking out of here, and then we've put the supplied washer and nut on the end of those. They've now got this solid nice at the back and in the correct position. So what we're looking at next is, we haven't got the front plate in position yet because we need to seal all the way down this edge. So what we are looking at doing is riveting that edge to here to get that in place. Seam seal all the way along there. Then we can loosen the lower 2 nuts on this side and this side, pop that plate in, and then bolt this all back together again. That way we've got that bit secured and the back bit secured. So then we can get all the B-pillar and these bits as well, and the flying buttress part, we can get those in once we've got it secured front and back. So we're now drilling the holes at the front wall, which will take the rivets and hold the bottom of the front wall in place. But what you've got to be careful of is just behind where we're drilling, the actual fuel tank is. So you don't want to go too far through and puncture the fuel tank. So I've now put the sealants along the back wall there, and we've done the rivets inside. So just for tidiness, we're just going to run our finger down here and just make sure we've got a good seal. Alright, so fitting this piece in when the bed was in place is probably a big mistake. I think you should definitely try and get that in, but obviously you're going to have problems getting to that seam sealer underneath there. But yeah, well, if you look down here, you can probably see the way this is kicking out. So this buttress part of the car here curves up there, and this side is got a cutout which sits on that buttress, but as far as we're concerned, this is too high. So when we're trying to tighten this up now, we've got this big gap here because this buttress is kicking this panel inwards. So we're going to take the back of the bed off and basically just cut out further there across that buttress. Alright, so as I explained before, this cutout here, this is now underneath the side panel. So this cutout, we've ground it down so it's a lot lower than it was before. So hopefully that'll sit lower down, and also to help, we've just hammered in those buttresses as well to give it just that little bit more. And this side we've put on and it's looking a lot better, just hanging there. We've not bolted it yet. So while we've got the pickup bed in bits, what we did is we thought we'd take it all back out again and do some full sealing in the back, because obviously we don't want any water ingress in there. So let me show you and tell you exactly what we've done in the back here to seal it up. So first of all, in this area here and a bit in the area down there, we filled those with expanding foam. We've pushed through the speaker wire into the interior, because if we do decide later to put a speaker in, then we'll cut a hole in this wall here and we'll just push the wire through, and we'll get a speaker wired up through there. But then we'll put a bit of trunking in there as well to sort of protect the wires before we filled it. So actually get it all nice and filled up so that it's not going to allow any water through there. And we went along the top edge here and filled up any of the little holes that we could find with sealants. So fully sealed all along the edge there. What we've then done is we've used this Gravitex stuff to actually spray all along the back, all along the areas which could rust. So it's all down the side here as well. Everywhere we've cut, we've actually put the Gravitex on. This is the stuff that you spray underneath your body to, it's the textured sort of lining that they put underneath cars to stop them rusting. So we've done it all the way down here. We've even done the back bumper, because the back bumper looks a little bit rusty, and along the back edge, so everywhere is now being protected. So at this point now, it looks like we are ready to start putting the sides of the bed in. And when we got those in, what we then need to do is to seal between the side of the bed and this point down here, because obviously if this fills with water from the bed, then it could come down into this part. So we need to fill this bit here. Well, we've got something to do at, which we'll show you as we get the sides of the bed in. So next stage is I'll just put the sides back in for now. They're just in loosely at the moment, because what we're going to make is a template for this area here. So you can see this is open, so any water coming into the bed would get into this area and then could come through underneath and get all this area, which you're not going to get access to. So we don't want water going in there. So we're going to make a template that is going to cover that area there, and then we've got some tin, so we're going to cut the tin out and then we're going to fit it and seal it across there. So let me show you what I've done here. So I've put in a piece of cardboard and I've made a template. Sorry about the lights, but you should be able to see. So I've made this template here out of cardboard that should fill up that area. So now I'm going to take this template, and we've got some very thin tin here, but this should do. It's less, about 1 mil if that. So I've laid that on there, and I've traced around it, and we're now ready to cut this out. So let's go test fit this in the car. Right, okay, so here's the piece I've just cut out. So see if she fits. It should go in there. And that is lovely. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut another same piece as this out, but without the little cutout there, because that cutout is just for the fuel sender. So I'll do another one for the other side, but without the cutout. So next step now is to get these sides bolted back in to secure them, and get the back plate at the bottom there bolted in, and that will hold this nice and rigid, and then we can install and seal the 2 bits of metal that I've made to stop any water getting in down there. So looking closely at this plate that we're going to fit here, we decided to fit them in this side of the car rather than the inside, because obviously as the water runs down there, it would just run down the edge. I know we'd have to seal the top, but this way, if we put them on the outer of the car like we've done there, then the water just runs into this area here and should clear down the open bungs there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pot rivet these in position, and then once they're in, we can then seal around them. And we'll just put a nice little bead of tiger seal just along there. We've pre-drilled the holes, don't we? There's a few extra ones, but it doesn't matter. But we've pre-drilled the holes, take the pot rivets. So now we're going to take this to the car, push it into place, and pot rivet it on. And now here we have the finished product. So this is with the plates installed. So as you can see down there, we've put that one in and sealed it up well and good right around the edges. And I'll show you on this side. So same on both sides, but on the other side, on the outer panel as well, we've sealed it up right under there. We'll put the wire in a little protective piece through there, and then we can still get access to the wiring, because it's going to come inside the car if we ever need to do any fault finding on the wiring. So I think we're well and truly sealed here. But now what we need to do is just need to leave this now for everything to set, because we don't want to start messing around and break the seal. So we'll leave that to set, and we'll come back tomorrow and carry on. So it's next day now, and we've turned the car around because it's a bit easier to work on this end with it sticking outwards than in the dark over there, and it's a bit more light as well. So just showing around, so everything is now sealed. This is where we left it yesterday. So all this lot was drying, this lot is now solid. So the tiger seal has gone off, so that's excellent. So look outside as well, sealed it all there, all nice and solid, so that should be well waterproof. So today what we're going to look at doing is we need to put a little chop in there and just lower these down a little bit more. So these need to go down because the flying buttress is going to connect to those. We need to get the plate in there. These B-pillar plates are going to go in today hopefully, and then we have a plate that goes from there to the wheel arch. Obviously get the plate with the inspection hole in there and get that bit fitted. So basically it's going to be all this lot here, so hopefully we're going to get all this lot bolted and in place today. So I'm going to start with fitting this plate back in. Now what I had to do is I had to tap down on here with a hammer just to lower the angle a little bit on that. So you might see it's just curved in slightly so that it would fit nicely into there without scratching the sides too much. And yep, so let's get this fitted. So I managed to get this plate mounted to this one here, and these bolts underneath there and there are pretty tough to get to, but you can do it. It is achievable. So now what we'll just do, we'll just pilot all these down here, and we're going to do the bolts in this part here and the rivets in there and a rivet in the outer part of that plate. So our next job now is to fit these B-pillar supports in. So we've just been looking, if you put it tight like that, it doesn't line up with the holes, and it doesn't seem to fit as well as if you actually get this strengthened bracket here, pull it forward, push this behind like that. That fits absolutely tight nicely, almost to the point that the holes do line up. But what we'll probably do is just take a little bit, die grind a little bit off the top of here, just so that lines up nicely. And then when we come to bolt it together, we can bolt through this here, so we get a three plates bolted together. That's going to be tight there, which is going to be nice, as well as bolting this to the front and the bolts into there. So that's what we're doing at the moment. Yeah, we'll have a bit of that. And that is beautiful and lines up perfectly. So our next job is we're looking at these old seatbelt mounts to see where we need to cut them. We purposely left them big because we want to show where they need to be cut, but to get this to fit, this has to go underneath that plate. So to do that, we're going to need to trim it basically level with those holes there. So next you find in the kit we've got these spacer blocks here, and these spacer blocks are meant to fit underneath there. So what we do is going to drill a hole through these, and then they'll sit in between. Here we have, so we've drilled the hole in the block. We've got the hole drilled now in the bottom of the brace. So now it's just a matter of bolting it all together. So we've now got the parts needed for this flying buttress. So this is going to comprise of the seatbelt bolt as it was. We then have a large washer which we've make sure drilled out so it goes over the shoulder of that. Also underneath where that hole is, there is actually a small thread which is for the wheel liner, so just drilled out a hole so it'll go over that as well. So that'll go on there, it'll go through into the wing, and then the spacer goes on those, and then the flying buttress will go on that using the hole underneath, as you'll see when we assemble it. So now, having tried to fit the old seatbelt mounts bolt through and get this all sort of squared up so it all went together, I found that was a bit of a nightmare, and we ended up cross threading on this captive nut here. So we decided to change our tack on that and just basically take a longer bolt like this and push it through from the bottom, drill out the thread that was in this captive nut, go straight through, put a Narlock nut on the end with a washer, and that's now much easier, and it's all just come together. Less tolerances are needed in this, whereas before you had to have the hole underneath, the hole through your block and everything perfectly in line for that nut to go in. But doing it this way, it's much easier. So as you can see there, that's how we've done it. So that's that side and that side now initially mounted. So what we're now looking at is we're going to now do these ones during these side bars here. So we're going to drill through there and there, which then is going to secure the bottom of the bed through the rear wheel arch. So we've just drilled through there now, so we've got the hole right through, and then we've used a longer nut and bolt because the ones you get in the kit won't work for this one, because there is a bit of a gap down there between the actual wing and the side wall. So we've put a bit of packing in there, and then we've just used the standard nut and bolt through the one that's in the middle, so that the inner one there, you can use the standard one, the one there needs a longer nut and bolt. So now on to working to the B-pillar securing bracket there. So what we're going to do is going to tag a seal all down the side here and on the back of this well, on the back of this plate as well, and then stick it on and rivet it up. So there's the B-pillar bracket, all nice and riveted in, and we'll put 2 bolts through all of this strengthening panel here to really put some strength into this top corner here. So 2 bolts, all rest rivets. So we've just mounted these plates in place at the moment. The top flat edge there underneath here, we just had to put it in the vise, just put a little bit of a bend on so that it sits flat underneath there and flat on here. We also had to tap this part of the inner wing out as well, just so it gives another flat edge there. But that's nice and flat there. If you look at the other side, so what we needed to do on the other side, you've got this that's mounted on that little piece there, so I've had to cut that out to allow that to be mounted back on. But again, we've got this nice and flat. We bent it again at the top, and that's now nice and flat and ready to be riveted in position. So that's going to be it for this video. So just looking back, what we've done is we've riveted the B-pillar support in there now, so that's nice and solid. We haven't put the bolts in here yet, that's another job, we know that. We'll just run out of time today. Everything's bolted down in here, it's all bolted down to the floor now. We can put the tailgate on, that's fitting way nicer than it did first time. We've bolted this in, we've bolted that there, but we haven't riveted this on yet. So we're going to save all of this stuff for the next time, which it's just before Christmas now, so the next time we're going to be working on this is going to be in January, which will be a couple of weeks from now. So that's it. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed this. If you did enjoy this, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and if you did like this particular video, then please give me the thumbs up. Till the next time, take care.